Your New York Yankees have finished the season 75-87 with a .463 winning percentage, and that was not good enough to make the postseason. So today on Yankees Radio, we will be just talking about the Yankees offseason and what will be happening. And at the end, we'll maybe even show a little gameplay. So here are some things that happened this season as the Yankees had an off season compared to last year. It was the Blue Jays. These were the standings. It was Blue Jays, Red Sox, Orioles, Yankees, then Rays. In the AL East, it was Indians, Tigers, Royals, Twins, and White Sox. In the American League West, it was Astros, Angels, Mariners, Athletics, and Rangers. And in the wild card, the Yankees were 11 games out, so they weren't even close. In the NL East, it was Nats, Mets, Braves, Marlins, Phillies. Then the Central was Cubs, Cardinals, Pirates, Brewers, Reds. And in the last division, the NL West, it was Giants, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Rockies, and Padres. So that was definitely the best division in the league. 2 100-plus win teams, and one of them had 87, the Diamondbacks, but didn't even make the playoffs because of the Mets. Now for the league leaders, as Lorenzo Cain led the league in batting average with a .343 average, with Denard Span, Trout, Cabrera, and Abreu behind them. As Denard Span was in a trade, sending him back to one of his former teams, the Minnesota Twins. I don't remember who he was in exchange for, but I know that he got traded to the Twins. In hits, Mike Trout led the league with 194. Right behind him is Troy Tulowitzki with 191. Then behind him is Miguel Cabrera, Donaldson, and Jose Abreu, who had a fantastic year. As batting average for the NL was led by Buster Posey with the .343, followed by Holiday, McCutchen, Markakis, and the Cubs' Jason Hayward. As McCutchen led the National League in hits with 206. And behind him was Jason Hayward, Ben Revere, Anthony Gose, and Paul Goldschmidt. As all of them except Rizzo and Goldschmidt had more than the number one in the American League. And at bats went to Leonys Martin in the AL and Ben Revere in the NL. And doubles went to Odubel Herrera from the Phillies and Mike Trout from the Angels. Triples was a tie between Mike Trout and Jose Altuve in the National League. Ben Revere had a clear win there. Joey Votto had the most homers in the National League with 44, behind Pence, Cespedes, Gonzalez, and Goldschmidt. And in the National League, Chris Davis tied with Tulowitzki with 46, followed by Donaldson, Trout, and Nelson Cruz. So I think that's it for the stats. Oh, never mind. But Mike Trout led the league in RBIs, and in the NL it was Hunter Pence. Jason Hayward led it in runs, and so did Tulowitzki. Altuve was first in stolen bases, as one of your Yankees, Jacoby Ellsbury, was fourth in stolen bases in the AL. On base percentage, just Trout leading the league in almost everything. And the wins were Dallas Keuchel and Clayton Kershaw. And losses were Jose Fernandez and David Price. Jose Fernandez had a great year, and Jonathan Papelbon led the league in saves, and Roberto Ozuna was the lead leaguer in saves in the AL. ERA, the lowest was Jared Weaver with 2.42, ahead of Chris Sale, David Price, King Felix, and Hisashi Iwakuma. And Jose Fernandez in the NL. And home runs allowed was Erasmo Ramirez from the Rays, and in the NL it was the Mets' Cliff Lee. So that's it for the league leaders. I believe we will take a look at the Yankees player stats now. As Never mind. Actually, we're gonna go to the awards first. Is Mike Trout clearly won, deserved it so much. 336 average, 42 homers. Kershaw wins it in the NL. It's basically the same thing that happened in 2014. The Cy Young in the AL is David Price, and of course the Cy Young in the National League is Clayton Kershaw. Because if you win MVP, you win Cy Young. Batting title for the AL goes to Denard Span because Lorenzo Cain did not have enough plate appearances to qualify because he was injured. And in the NL, it was the catcher Buster Posey with a 343 average with 18 homers and 90 RBIs. The relievers of the year were Sean Doolittle from the Oakland A's and Jonathan Papelbon from the Washington Nationals. As and Tyler White won the Rookie of the Year in the AL, and Ross Stripling won Rookie of the Year in the NL for the Dodgers. As the Hank Aaron Awards went to Mike Trout and Joey Votto, who were the both home run leaders. Trout was third in the AL, as Gold Gloves are Jake Peavy, Chris Sale for the pitchers. Now, for the catchers, it's JT Realmuto and Blake Swihart, Chris Davis, Freddie Freeman, Neil Walker, Jonathan Schoop, A-Rod from your Yankees, Eugenio Suarez, Brandon Crawford, Xander Bogaerts, Michael Brantley, Gerardo Parra, Yoenis Cespedes, Kevin Kiermaier, Cole Calhoun, and Nick Markakis. Now, the Silver Sluggers were Zach Greinke, Kendrys Morales, Yan Gomes, Buster Posey, Paul Goldschmidt, Jose Abreu, Jason Kipnis, Neil Walker, Nolan Arenado, Josh Donaldson, Troy Tulowitzki, Addison Russell, Hunter Pence, Mike Trout, Jose Bautista, McCutchen, AJ Pollock, and the last one is JD Martinez from the Detroit Tigers. You can take a look at the postseason MVPs. No players qualify because the playoffs haven't started yet. And I believe now we will take a look at the Yankee stats. As Todd Frazier was the best hitter. He was acquired at the trade deadline. Ellsbury had the most runs with 75. Gardner had the most hits with 156. I believe McCann led the Yankees with homers. I think so. Yeah, he did with 27. Just a fantastic year for Brian McCann. 88 RBIs. Jacoby Ellsbury crushed everyone else with 46 stolen bases. And Carlos Beltran had the highest average with 285. And Brett Gardner had the highest on-base percentage with 351. The highest slugging percentage was Brian McCann with 455. Same with on-base percentage. Mark Teixeira led the team in walks. Brett Gardner had the most strikeouts. As that is it for the stats. As we will take a look at the postseason now. As here's your bracket. You can see the ALDS is Houston, Cleveland, Toronto, and against Seattle or the Angels. NL is Cubs, Nats, and Giants against either the Dodgers or the Mets. So that's it for the postseason. We will find out who wins the World Series this year, and it is the Dodgers over the Angels. So it's technically a Subway Series because it's LA versus LA, but the Dodgers come out on top. For the Hall of Fame inductees, it was Ichiro, the legendary Ichiro, the former Yankee, and David Ortiz. Now to the free agents. The Yankees have a lot of free agents to sign. Luckily, they don't have 7 years of service. So, Dylan Betances gets arbitration. So will Aroldis Chapman. Michael Pineda will also get arbitration, as the Yankees don't want to just spend all their money on these players, which they can just get steals for. But Luis Severino is coming back on a 2-year, $3.8 million deal. So he's going to be back on the team. Nathan Eovaldi was offered arbitration. Gary Sanchez, the backup catcher, was offered 2-year, $22.2 million, but the Yankees would let Mark Teixeira walk as he just keeps getting injured. So they're most likely going to have Greg Bird be their everyday first baseman. Now, the Yankees' top prospect, Jorge Mateo, would be offered a 1-year, $3 million deal. So I assume he will be on the roster, as they would let CC Sabathia walk. Another top prospect, Aaron Judge, was offered a nice deal. It was a 1-year, $3 million deal. That's the same deal as Jorge Mateo. Now Greg Bird, who missed the entire season with a torn labrum, gets a 2-year deal. Those are the top free agents. Now, the Yankees didn't sign anyone big. They just signed like role players like Angel Pagan. So Angel Pagan will be one of their backup outfielders, as they really need one after trading away Aaron Hicks, and Dustin Ackley is going to be their backup first baseman since they don't have Teixeira anymore. But the Yankees, they have to do this move, and they did it. They waived Alex Rodriguez, so he will not be on the team. They also called up Jorge Mateo to the Major League roster. So I'm guessing that they'll switch. There'll be a platoon, Mateo and Gregorius. Aaron Judge was called up as well to the big leagues. So Aaron Judge and Jorge Mateo will be we don't know yet, but another player they signed was the veteran Cameron Maybin, who was drafted by the Tigers and ended up back on the Tigers last year, but now he's going to be on the Yankees. As we have some breaking news from the Bronx, as we have a trade from the Seattle Mariners, as reports say that the Yankees are going to acquire Kyle Seager, the all-star third baseman, for top prospect Ray De Los Santos, who was a first-round pick this year, Didi Gregorius. So Mateo will be the everyday shortstop, and top prospect Domingo Germán, as the Mariners accept that trade. And that was a huge move. And here is some gameplay of the new prospects that will be coming up. As while you watch this gameplay, I will be talking about the Yankees team and my predictions. So, you just saw all the moves that happened. Acquiring Kyle Seager was a big one. I feel like the Yankees are going to have a really good season. I feel like they'll trade. I feel like right now, Cliff Lee is a free agent, and the Yankees have all righties, and I think they might sign him. I'm not sure. Also, I think they'll probably trade for a lefty, because once again they have all righties in their excuse me, rotation. So I have reports that they are going to have Todd Frazier be the DH. Now that's kind of interesting, because Todd Frazier, he's getting up there in age. He's 31 years old. So maybe we could see him being A-Rod, except not as good for in a couple years, maybe in like 2019 or something. Because he'll be pretty old and won't be able to play the field, so he will be the third.
Jorge
Mateo
will stand in now in what could be a real make or
I don't know what the lineup is going to be for opening day, but I don't think we're going to get it at the end of the
on the ground to third.
I don't know how to say this. Well, I know how to say it, I just can't remember them. At the end of the broadcast, because this is kind of a broadcast. I feel like we're going to see what the lineup will be like at the end. But
here's a ball hit in the air.
I think that the Yankees, I think this will be their lineup. Of course, first two, Ellsbury Gardner. I think they're going to put Frazier in the 3 hole, and cleanup will be McCann. 5th will be Seager.
It's not looking too good for him anymore, but
6th will be,
there's no clock in this sport, and that's for good reason.
5th will be Castro. 6th will be Seager. 7 will be Mateo. No, 7 will be Judge. 8 will be Bird, and 9 will be Mateo. That's my guess. I don't know the lineup though. As I think, yeah, like I'm saying again, I think we'll see the lineup at the end.
3-2 now.
But another thing to talk about is that pitching rotation. Now, the Yankees, I mean, they have some pretty good pitching, except
He strikes him out to end it here as they were able to get the
they
possible
are
tying run to the plate.
not the
but
most
could not
consistent,
cash in.
if you know what I mean. But
Afternoon baseball here on
Tanaka
the show.
sometimes
Today, a spring
gives
training
up 3
matchup between
solo
the New
homers,
York Yankees
and then they lose
and
again.
their crosstown rivals,
Sometimes
the New
he throws
York
a
Mets.
5-hitter. Well, most of the time he throws like a 5-hitter, and they win.
With a moment now, let's take a
But
look at the defense for the New York Mets.
I think Tanaka's
It's
going to
brought
have a
us
Cy
by
Young year. I feel like he's going to win the Cy Young.
Lucas Duda set to take his first cuts with a man at first and 2 away.
Yeah, and he's going to have to find
You know,
a gap to give that man on
whatever,
first a
I'm going to
chance
say
to
it.
score.
I think Kyle Seager is going to be the AL MVP.
Fly
And
ball
Aaron
out
Judge
to
will win
straightaway
Rookie of the Year in the
right
AL.
fielder is on
Because
the
the Yankees,
run.
I feel like
He
they're going to
makes
have a
the
really
play,
good
and
season.
that'll end the inning. So no runs here, no hits.
My prediction, I think the Yankees will go 90-72 and be the
digs
second
in here
spot.
for his
Will be
first
second place in the AL East, behind the Blue Jays, who I think will go 97-65.
No offer on that one. 2 balls and a strike.
I think they will play. I think they're gonna play.
Swing and a liner.
I'm not really sure about who they would play in the
Bases are
wild
empty,
card
1
game.
man out.
I feel like they would play the Tigers because the Indians and the Tigers, they were just
Swing and a little
competing
blooper
a
to
lot
center.
in that division.
Cespedes
So I think it's
posts
gonna
under it.
repeat. And I think
Makes
the
the
Yankees
play,
will win
and
that
there
game
are 2
if they
gone
did.
now.
Having Tanaka, after what happened
Number
the year
99
before last
will
year
dig in.
in
0 for 1
2015
here in this
against the
one.
Astros, I think he'll bounce back
Here's
and
the
throw
1-1 pitch.
a really good
short.
performance. If you can
Taken
throw
in by Flores.
performance.
And
But
the 5th inning will start with a
that's my
ground out,
predictions.
1 away.
Leave yours in the comments
Rafael
below.
Montero will stand in, and his guys have got
But
something cooking now with
That's
2
just
on and
me.
nobody out.
I'm not the actual owner of the
Down by
Yankees.
2,
I'm
this is a
just
good
here
opportunity
to tell you
try
what's
to
going
put
on.
yourselves level.
The 1-2 pitch. Hit in the air to right field.
what
Right
else?
fielder has a beat on it. Makes the catch.
And if you're just tuning in, I'd like to
Now a
say
long throw
that
home.
some critical
And
moves
they are
happened
on the
that you
board
missed.
with the sac fly,
If it was
as
you
this is
coming back
now
from
a
work and
2-1
you're listening
game.
to the podcast in the car, or if you're just
Lucas
driving
Duda will
somewhere,
stand in again.
you're
He's
driving
flown
to a
out in each of
vacation or
his first 2
something.
plate
Well,
appearances
the
thus
Yankees,
far.
Yeah, and
they
he
traded
just
for
needs to
Kyle
make a
Seager,
small
trading
adjustment and stay through
2
the middle of
really
the
good
ball.
prospects
And he'll get there in
and
plenty
Didi
of time to put
Gregorius.
this one away, and that ends the inning. Mets
So,
go down 1, 2,
Kyle
3.
Seager's on the team now. So if you just went into your car and
Number
started listening to the
99
radio,
steps in now.
then you know about Kyle Seager now. So now let's talk about the
1-1 count.
rookies.
Here's the pitch.
Aaron Judge.
1-2.
No,
And that's about where he'll
Aaron
sit with
Judge,
that fastball.
he's probably going to be one of those guys
93,
who you don't expect
That's
to have a
plenty
high
hard enough to
average,
blow
but
by
you don't
guys when
expect
you
to
need
hit
to.
like 30 plus homers a year.
And the slider
Have like a
gets him
240
swinging, 2
average.
gone.
The guy's 6'7", I don't know, like 260 pounds, something like that. The guy's a monster. I feel like that's what he can do. I'm not sure if
High
he's
and deep
gonna
to
be a
right
good
center
fielder
field.
because of his
Going
size.
back is the right fielder, but he
So
can't
he'll definitely
get to this
be-
one. It's
I
off the
think
wall.
My
The runner
comparison
scores
to Aaron
from
Judge
second,
is like a Kyle Schwarber.
but not in
Kyle
time,
Schwarber-
and just like that, this
No.
ball game is tied.
He's like an outfielder slash catcher. You know, he's big. He's not too fast. He's not the best fielder, but he's a very talented hitter.
Lifted
that's
in
my
the air out
comparison
to right.
to Aaron
And the
Judge.
move to the pinch hitter will not pan out as that's taken in
Now,
for the first
for
out.
Jorge Mateo, my
Striding
comparison
into
for
the
him,
box, Nevin Ashley, as
I
he'll
think
get his first opportunity
he's
in this
like
one.
a worse D. Gordon.
And this is pop foul,
he's
but perhaps
extremely
playable
fast.
behind first. And that's taken
Gets
in
on
by
base a lot.
Ackley, 2 away now.
Does not hit a lot of homers though. He does not hit.
Number
He barely
99
hits any
will try
home
again.
runs.
0 for 3 with
I
a
think he
strikeout
won't even
thus
get a
far.
homer this
Well, he's had
season.
a rough one
That's
at the
just my
plate in
opinion.
this one, guys, but here's
Or until like the
another
late
opportunity to get something
season,
going.
or maybe even the
Ranges
postseason.
to
But I
his
doubt
right.
it.
Throw to first
They
gets
make it.
him 1 out here to
Knock
lead
on
off
wood.
the 10th. Number 99 will
You can
dig
take
in.
a look at
0 for
the
4
footage.
with a strikeout thus far.
Well, certainly not
Aaron
a
Judge,
productive game, but
he strikes out a
every at-bat
lot.
is another chance to
He's
turn
either
things
going to
around.
strike out, hit a double,
Hit high
or
in
hit
the
a
air
home
down
run.
the right field line.
That's just
Granderson
what I
moving
think.
to
Or
his
pop
left,
out.
and that's the second out of the inning.
He's just one of those players. Yeah, so he'll be the right fielder. I'm going to talk about my predictions for the awards.
Launch to right field and
I already
deep.
said Tanaka
Racing
will
back,
be
the
the
right
Cy Young
fielder.
and MVP.
And
Oh,
just
no.
short of a home
He'll be
run,
the
this
Cy
ball's
Young.
off the wall.
Seager will be
Second.
the AL
He'll try
MVP.
for third, and the offense continues as he's
Aaron
hit.
Judge will be the AL Rookie of the Year. As here's your lineup. It's Ellsbury, Gardner, Frazier, McCann, Seager. Seager making Aaron Judge the 6th hitter for opening day, followed by Starlin Castro, Greg Bird, and the rookie Jorge Mateo. As user pitching rotation, it's Tanaka, Pineda, Severino, Evaldi, and Ivan Nova. It's basically the same except Ivan Nova instead of CC Sabathia. In the bullpen, it's Swarzak, Pistano, Shreve, a signing of Jim Johnson, Dylan Betances, Andrew Miller, and Aroldis Chapman. So that'll just about do it for this broadcast of the Yankees offseason. Wherever you are, have safe travels home, or if you're watching on TV, have a good night. Goodbye.